The PokerGO Tour recently held a Pot Limit Omaha series, and man do I love me some Pot Limit Omaha. More cards, more possibilities, and definitely more action. And if you remember a few months back, I got completely torched at the last PLO series. I had many chiming in telling me how awful I am at this wonderful game. Those comments are so much appreciated, you guys. Thank you for everyone who belittled and harassed me. I'm going to be looking for some redemption from my last foray into the 4-card streets. This time, it's taking place at the beautiful new poker room at the Venetian in Las Vegas. This series is several 5Ks and a 10K at the end, and today's tournament is a bounty tournament for a little extra fun. I had some things to take care of this afternoon, so I'm in this tournament on a late registration bullet. Some people think late reg bullets are just burning money, but I do tend to disagree, and that's why I'm here. So, not much happened early on. The first notable hand is midway through the tournament after registration closed. Michael Wang raises in the hijack. Sam Soverell calls on the button.
Oh, fuck, take mine.
I call in the small blind with ace king 9-8 with the nut suit. The flop is 9-7-5 with 2 diamonds, giving me top pair, a gut shot, and the nut flush draw. Action checks around to Sam on the button, and he bets 30,000. I want to start playing this aggressively now, so I make it 90,000. Michael Wang gets out of the way, and when action gets back to Sam, he calls. The turn is a brick deuce. I want to see if I can move Sam off a better hand of mine, something like an overpair with a gut shot, maybe even 2 pair. And if he does call, I should have plenty of outs, assuming he does not have the nuts, so I move all in on the turn. He thinks for a while and eventually ends up calling. He has middle set of 7s and is in a pretty strong lead here. So I'm going to need a 6 or a diamond to win this pot. And it looks like we're picking up right where we left off last week, playing a huge all-in against Sam Soverell. This time, however, he is the one in the lead, but the river brings a diamond, giving me a nice big double up.
All right.
Whoopa!
You've improved your record knowledge against me.
Was it already really high? You won a big one last time.
I'm saying, I finally won one.
Yeah.
Like 10-0. Now
I'm 11-1.
So we're up to 640,000 in chips.
Sir, I just want to know what the difference is. That's all. It's not a problem. $1 difference, right? Is it? It might be. 11,000. No problem. I called. I was just hoping you were going to fold, and I'm now hoping that this is good. And we're dead. Okay. 7 or a 10 is what I'm going to need, sir. Yeah. You are in good shape.
Deuce.
7 o'clock. Oh my God, that is gross.
That's the second straight punch I've seen you hit the last couple of days.
Bro! This is not
Sorry, that was
so gross. I could have just called 30,000 the same thing. I just like to make it more dramatic. You just make it more dramatic.
And as I mentioned earlier, this is a Quattro Bounty Tournament, meaning that when a quarter of the field is left, bounties come into play. And in this event, each bounty is worth $8,000. And on the first hand of the bounty phase, Michael Wang opens in the hijack. The cutoff calls, Chino calls on the button. I call in the small blind with King 10-10-7. The flop is looking pretty good, King, King, Queen. It checks to Michael Wang and he moves all in. Chino thinks on the button for a very long time. If he goes all in, it might be a tough spot for me here. My kicker is okay, but it's not easy for me to make a full house here if I'm behind. And I could just be drawing dead. But in these bounty tournaments, people commit chips very easily to try to bust another player. Chino doesn't have to have a great hand, but he's considering calling to get that $8,000 bounty. It's a tricky spot though, as he still has players left to act behind him.
Let's go!
Chino does end up folding, and I put my chips in the middle. Wang has ace-king, so bad news for us. So we have some catching up to do, and that pair in my hand isn't helping my cause at all. But the dealer burns and turns, and I drill the 10 right away for the full house. But I'm not out of the woods yet. He could still catch an ace to give him a bigger full house. But the river is a brick and I win the first bounty of the tournament. By the way, if you're getting any value from my thought process or you're just entertained by the behind the scenes look at what I do for a living, I'd love to have you along for the ride. We're actually closing in on 6,000 subscribers. I think we'll be at 10,000 before you know it. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow while I'm out here grinding. And play is moving pretty fast now that bounties are in play. We are down to just 2 tables pretty quickly of 4 players each. So 8 players are remaining, 7 get paid. But that's when things really start to slow down and this bubble really starts to drag on. Sometimes in these spots, the small stacks just keep winning all ends. Or in this case, they might just be playing ultra tight because they know that they will get called because of the bounty. Other times, they are just hoping other people clash so they can sneak into the money like the dirty little cockroaches that they are. And here we see Chino all in on the bubble against the aces of John Riordan. Chino has ace, queen, queen. He needs a lot of help. Artem was in this hand also and made a very painful fold with king, king, queen. So all the big hands were out there. Chino catches a decent flop as he has the flush draw, but he surprises us all by winning this hand with a queen on the turn for trips. He survives the bubble.
We're good.
Good game, bro. Beautiful, lovely vlog that I love. That's not stupid.
And at this point, we've been playing four-handed for about an hour when someone finally busts at the other table. So we will now combine to the final table of 7 players. All of us are guaranteed about $6,000. This payout is a little low for a $5,000 buy-in, but that's what happens when a large portion of the prize pool goes to the bounties. At this final table, we have Jordan Glazer in the 1 seat. Chino is in the 2 seat. I am in the 3 seat. Artem Maximov to my left is in the 4 seat. Philip Shing is in the 5 seat. John Riordan is in the 6 seat. Dylan Lynde is in the 7 seat. So I've got my work cut out for me here, starting middle of a pack with about 20 big blinds, and also I have the big stacks to my left. But early on, I get in a pretty good spot. We see Jordan pot off a small stack in early position, and I look down at a decent hand, King, King, Jack, Deuce, and this is good enough to gamble, especially considering the bounties. So I repot to isolate, and he calls it off with Jack 10, 9, 4, double suited. So we're out in front, but as always in PLO, this pot could go either way. The flop is Queen 6-3 with 2 diamonds, giving him a diamond draw. The turn is a blank 3, and we're in good shape going into the river as he has to hit the flush and only a flush to survive. The river is a 5, which is a blank, gives us our first casualty of the final table. So I pick up another bounty and put another 8 grand in my pocket, and let's not forget a nice little pot my way as well. And now we see John Riordan pot off the shortest stack in the cutoff. I look down at a pretty great hand, ace, queen, 10-3, double suited in the big blind. This is definitely way good enough to go bounty hunting. I happily repot, and he puts the rest of his short stack in, and I'm against king, king, queen, 10. So we're gonna need some help here. The flop is somewhat appealing to us as we flop a flush draw. There are plenty of opportunities to win, but the turn is a 5 of spades and the river is the 6 of hearts, and John doubles up at our expense.
You're counting your stack wrong. You always short yourself, bro.
No, I knew I was going. 475.
I wasn't going to say anything that time.
So that pot took over half of my stack, leaving me pretty short with 6 players left. In the very next hand, it's folded to me in the small blind, and I squeeze 10-9-3-3. It's not the best hand, but it is double suited, and I've got a thing for 2 suits. So I decide to limp in, see if I can see a flop for cheap. But Artem, who has me covered, has other plans, and he pots it. This doesn't necessarily mean his hand is all that strong. He really just wants to win my bounty. In PLO, you can get it in with almost anything and often not be too big of an underdog. And when you have that $8,000 overlay, it's attractive to play very aggressive against the small stacks. So I make the call with my dusty 10-9-3-3 double suited, and we see the 9-6 deuce flop. Now usually in PLO, you're looking for a better than top pair to commit the money, but given the stack depths and how wide he'll probably call me here, I decide to just lead pot. Honestly, if I check, he's probably just going to put me all in anyways. But he calls with the ace, king, 8-7. I'm out in front, but he's open-ended with overcards and lots of outs. The turn is not one of them, it's a jack, and the river is another jack, and I get a very necessary double up. And shortly after that, Riordan busts Lynde, so we're down to 5 players and have nearly $12,000 locked up, plus my 2 bounties. And I'm in for only 1 bullet, so this day is suddenly not looking too bad. A few hands later, John is up to no good again. He has the king 9-7 deuce, 3 suits, suited to the 9, keep in mind. Yes, you heard that right. He's against pocket aces of Artem. Artem is pretty short, but this is a funny matchup. Such a strong hand against such a trash hand. And John hits the miracle card to bust Artem in 5th place. 4 of us are left, and John is clearly high on playing these shitty cards to bust the people. He plays plenty of Hold'em, but at heart, John is a PLO guy for life.
Suited to the 970s of diamonds.
Versus the ace 4-4 on the king.
Ace 4-4 double.
King 10-3, 2 clubs.
And a little later, John limps the button. We know that means absolutely nothing considering a couple of the hands he's shown down, and I look down at pocket kings. Pocket kings with no suit, I might add, but the shallowness of my stack, coupled with the cheese John likely holds, gives me no option but to pot and expect to get called. I'll probably pot most flops and be in a race situation against whatever hideous holding John is going to show us. It's a risk you've got to take in these things, and I'm down for it. After he calls my pot, we see the 10-5-5 flop. 5-5. That's all over my man John's range here, isn't it? Nevertheless, I slide my entire stack into the middle.
I had ace pair.
You have Jack 10, 6-6.
He calls with top pair. The turn gives him a new top pair, meaning he has a few outs going into the river. He has 4 outs for a full house. This is a dream spot for us. The river bricks off, securing me the double up. Maybe John will think twice next time about those toxic holdings, though I have my doubts. And just as suspected, thirsty for more action, he's back in there ramming and jamming. The very next pot, he ends up busting Chino in 4th place. We're suddenly down to 3-handed, $21,000 locked up, plus our bounties. Now at this point, I want to start looking to move into a position to take this tournament down. First place is $51,000, second place is $32,000. And shortly after Chino busts, we get into another big pot against a guy who's never seen 4 cards he didn't like. We raise the button with Jack 10-8. The gambling man is eager to flip in the call. He's nearly salivating at the opportunity to see another flop. And this flop is what pot limit Omaha dreams are made of. Jack 9 deuce. Rainbow. Top set. Straight draw. John checks. Given how strong our hand is, I decide to check back and set the trap for this maniac. The turn is a 6. John knows few words besides pot, and he belches out another one of those pots. And given how much he's committed and how much I have left, I know he's not going to be folding. So I'm beyond excited to repot this one. He calls and reveals 8-7 for an open-ended straight draw. And we have the 10 blocker, which is going to make things even tougher for him. So this is a massive pot here. If he hits, he'll go into heads up against Philip with a huge chip lead and we will be on the rail. But if our set holds up, I'll have the slight lead 3-handed and we'll be in good shape to close this thing out. The river comes off and it is the 4 of clubs. So now I'm up to about 2 million in chips and I'm finally in a position where I can start putting some pressure on these guys. And that I do. I pick up many pots without showdown, and we've worked our way to a pretty big chip lead at this point. We pot the button with King Jack 10-6. Philip repots the small blind. We're suited to the king. The hand isn't great, but it's good enough, especially with bounties in play. Philip only has about 13 big blinds to start this hand, and I'm not folding many flops given how much money's in the middle. I want to be sure to get his bounty if I flop decent, so I just put all the money in. He has ace 10, 8-7, putting him out in front just by a hair. He flops a nut flush draw, and the turn brings a flush for him. We have no outs going to this river, so we lose a decent pot to Philip. Our stack is looking pretty healthy regardless. A couple hands later, it's folded to us in the small blind. And real quick, I don't know what's happened to John here, but they must be dealing him some blanks, I guess. Maybe they're only giving him like 2 or 3 cards. Anyways, I want to keep the pressure on Philip, so I pot Jack 8, 7-3 double suited. Philip keeps hammering the repot button and does it again. I make the call with this gappy double suited rundown. The flop is ace jack 8, which gives us bottom 2 pair and a flush draw. We check it over to Philip and he just pots it. We are very excited to get this one in, and he reveals that we are out in front here. He just has 1 pair of aces, so he has to catch one of his other cards here for a better 2 pair or trips, and he does not do so on the turn, which is a deuce. This is looking like a great spot to bust Philip, pick up a bounty, and get heads up with John for the trophy. But the dealer peels off a 6 on the river. That gives Philip a better 2 pair, and we have a big payout to make here as we double up Philip one more time. We're down to about 1.5 million. It's rarely easy, guys. A few hands later, John and Philip play a big one. They have aces versus kings, and John wins to get a big double up from Philip. And this is turning out to be quite a cage match here. We keep passing chips back and forth. But I catch a little more heat against John again and pick up a couple more pots. So I'm back in decent shape here. And John continues his downfall as he and Philip go all in one more time. This time Philip holds on for the win and he busts John in 3rd place. So now we are heads up with a nice chip lead against Philip Shing. And we're guaranteed $32,340 and we're playing for another $19,000. First place is $51,450 plus the bounties. Right away, we pick up the ace jack 8-7 on the button. Philip calls our raise, and we see the 10-5-3 flop. No pairs for us, but we have the nut flush draw. He checks, and I bet 300,000.
300.
And Philip pots it, and this hand is just good enough to get it all in with. I repot, Philip calls off the rest of his chips. So we are off to the races for the title here. Philip shows pocket queens with a flush draw, and we have the higher flush draw but no pair. Unfortunately, he has 2 of our outs for that flush draw. Although we do have a sneaky little overcard ace also, the turn is a complete brick, and if we lose this, the tides will be completely turned and he'll have a nice lead on us. And just as I'm thinking about my strategy, if I lose this pot, the dealer slams the ace on the river, and that top pair crushes his pocket queens, and we have this tournament locked up. And I gotta say, winning tournaments is just one of my favorite things in the world to do. Second hurts, but man, when you win first, it's just amazing. Even if it's a small one, a big one, whatever it may be, they're all great. And in this one, we pick up another bounty, and then our bounty is worth a little bit of money too, a couple $1,000. So all said and done, we pick up $77,450. Let's not forget another PGT title and points for the season-long leaderboard. Winning that again is a high priority for me. And if you want to follow along in that journey, please click the subscribe button as I'll be bringing you new vlogs every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.